Hello, football fans. Ryan here, and joining me is
Also, Ryan.
great to have you here, Ryan. And you know what also is great? This play. Let's get to it.
Big.
Close game, one score game at the end of the game, the end of the fourth quarter here, Ryan.
Throws it downfield. Williams incomplete. Fourth down coming up
It was
in
a
only
cracker of a
11
game.
seconds.
Great game.
Must be a holding call.
Spike
They're
there.
backing it up.
Here comes the white hat signal.
So Barstown will have two chances here, but maybe you might could get off two plays in 12 seconds. But you'd have to be getting out of bounds on one of them. They just kicked somebody out of the game. I think they kicked Williams out of the game.
That ball unsportsmanlike.
That's number 3, yeah. And that flap is unsportsmanlike. I had to ask some veterans about that. Apparently, we used to flap it. I don't know, but they called an unsportsmanlike on number 3, who I thought was Bardstown's best player, at least in this game. He was their workhorse. They have the crew flagged him for spiking the ball, and there he is walking off and throws his helmet. So what we have is a player frustrated that he didn't make the catch, and grabs the ball and throws it down, and they got him for a spike.
And so, Ryan, my thoughts on this, it's really tough for me to make that call. Granted, we weren't there, right? We don't know the history. We don't know if a curse word was uttered, or if there was other, some contributing factors. But for me, we're at the tail end of a game. This player already has one unsportsmanlike, which I guess might, inform us that, hey, maybe there had been some problems with behavior or conduct after the play. But still, in a really close game like that, that type of spike to me doesn't raise to the level of an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. One of the things, I know this is going to sound silly, but the spike didn't go up high in the air. It wasn't directed at another player. It didn't seem to draw tons of attention to himself. I know in previous videos, when a player spiked the ball after a punt, I did argue for a call on this. But in this situation, in this game context, this to me does not raise to that level. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to put forth an argument why this should have been called. So the spike, and for those of you who don't know, in high school football, you cannot spike the ball. It is an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. It's 15 yards. And it's just to prevent, team A spikes the ball, team B gets upset, and shenanigans happen. So it's a safety thing, game management thing. You can't spike the ball in high school football. They had number 3 spiking the ball, and Ryan was correct. We had another play earlier that we looked at where a punter catches the ball, his knees down, he's upset, he spikes the ball, and they rung him up. Ryan was kind of arguing for a foul. I was arguing against it, and now I'm going to put forth an argument why this foul was righteous, and that is, what if this kid scores the touchdown that brings them closer to tying the game, or the 2-point conversion, or the winning touchdown in overtime, and now the opponent's coach is like, hey, this kid should have been ejected. He clearly spiked the ball, and you let him in the game, and he came back and he beat us. And now you've just given fodder to your association to have to stand, or they can't stand up for you because they're, oh, yeah, you're right, he should have been ejected. So that is an argument for throwing a flag. It's not what I think should have happened, but that is an argument for it.
Yeah, I would say how much attention is being brought by this action, right? Because sometimes after a player might hold the ball and they might be frustrated. Maybe they dropped a pass and they might, sort of bang it on the ground. Now, it doesn't pop back up. It doesn't create a big production. They're just frustrated. And so they sort of bang it on the ground. I'm not going to call that, because they're frustrated. It's okay to, show emotion as long as it's shown in a respectful way. And in this situation, it just didn't seem like the action, although it was a spike by the sort of rule of the definition of a spike, which I'm not sure is in the rule book, but it probably met that definition. It just didn't bring the attention to the player. After the player did that, no one was looking around saying, "Ooh, that player did that. Look at them." They were instead saying, "Hey, there's 12 seconds to go in a one-score game. Let's go." And so I think that it differs between some other plays, like if after scoring a touchdown, because after scoring a touchdown, you spike, you're doing that so everybody pays more attention to you. This was more of an expression of frustration that I don't think brought attention to the player. And so to me, I'm not going to call it in that situation.
I totally agree. I don't like this for a foul. Keep in mind, video of high school football is never conclusive. The kid may have shouted the F word at the top of his lungs. We don't know. We're assuming it was just the spike. So we have to give that caveat. But if it was just the spike, I don't like the foul. And what I said before, while that's an argument to throw a flag, I feel like if I'm the white hat in this game, I'm the adult in the room, and I adjudicate the game. And no, if you need this foul to win, that's not how that's not how this game's gonna go. You're gonna beat this team fair and square. You're not gonna get off on a technicality. He's staying in the game. He dropped the ball, as we showed this play at our association offseason meeting. Somebody said, no, he didn't spike it. He dropped it. They were advocating for no foul too. And you know what? That's a hill I'll die on. If my association or my state association doesn't like that, well, so be it. That's not how we're going to play the game. We're going to play it righteously. Righteously, that sounds a little overboard, but you know what I mean. We're nothing cheap, and this was the kid was frustrated, wasn't directed towards anybody. Again, assuming he didn't say anything. So that's to me, I'm not throwing the flag. This game, Bardstown, Franklin County from Kentucky, is a font of material. This is like the third big situation I've gotten from this game. A cracker of a game. Go look it up. Bardstown at Franklin County from 2023. 37-29 was the final. Bardstown came back at the end. I mean, if that number 3 had caught the ball, who knows? They could have maybe scored and at least had a chance to tie the game up. But just a lot happened in this game. Love this game. Tons of stuff.
So I have a question for you, Ryan, and for the commenters as well. This is obviously, or I presume that they have the same sort of rules that we do in Washington, that this was the second unsportsmanlike conduct, which would then result in an ejection. Do you make a different decision if a player's already had one unsportsmanlike conduct penalty? I.e., is there a spike that you let go if they've already got one because you don't want to eject them for that? Versus if they don't have any one and it's the first quarter, you flag it. It's, I think, an interesting question. I know that, if we sort of look at it at a purely, we should be looking at it purely agnostically, but that's not always how it goes. So I'm interested how both you think about that and how our commenters think about that.
Yeah, we definitely want to open that up to our commenters. And great use of the word agnostic too. Great question. I got a couple of responses. Number one, if we make even our unsportsmanlike conducts righteous and big, then we don't have to worry because he got one before, he earned it. And so I can sleep well at night. That foul we called on you, you earned that. So even with those, make them big, make them meaningful. And two, when it happens, coach, he's halfway to an ejection. If he gets another one, he's gone. And I think saying that too lets everybody know, hey, this kid has to mind his P's and Q's. He has to be on his best behavior. And hopefully they know you can't spike it. I mean, what an off. If a kid spikes the ball twice and gets ejected, that kind of sucks. I mean, that just seems a little petty, but those are the rules, right? And so it can happen. I don't know in this case, him having one foul or one unsportsmanlike previous to me doesn't matter because I'm still not throwing a flag for this. To me, this is just the kid was frustrated, took it out on himself. Maybe you say, hey, don't do this again or something. But I don't think it rises to the level of a foul.
Yeah. Great answer. Great answer. And it's
Hey, thanks.
interesting
One in a
because
row. One in a row for me.
yeah. It's interesting because, sometimes the first unsportsmanlike may be more egregious. And then you're like, well, geez, I'm now ejecting them for something less egregious than what they did. But that is the rule. You can't just rack up unsportsmanlike. So, it's an interesting discussion. And, I'd love to hear what our commenters have to say and how they handle those situations in their associations.
And I would love to hear if anybody has ejected a kid for 2 spikes or something, two kind of the sort of milk toast unsportsmanlikes, I would be interesting. So please let us know your thoughts. Did you think this was a warranted unsportsmanlike? Do you agree with the Ryans that maybe we could have let this one go? Please put your comments in the comment section below. We want to hear from you. Please join the discussion. It's very important to us. Also, Ryan, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll leave you with the 5th down.
Well, let's see what the call is. Referee's conferring. It was a pickup of about 7 on the play, or maybe 8. Let's see if it stands. Still no signal yet from the referee crew. A lot to sort out, apparently.